Hey, is this Felix?
Yes, it is.
Hey, this is Garrett with the Smoky Mountain News. How are you today?
Good speaking to you.
I'm glad you could give me some of your time today to chat. I really appreciate it.
Okay, great.
Well, just to start, this fall you'll be turning 75 years old, and
Right.
I was curious if there was any change in your mindset or any kind of full circle moments that you're coming across these days.
Well, I mean, as far as as far as life, as far as like my political thoughts, as far as music, I mean, everything has changed obviously from the years that we were in the beginning of our so-called musical renaissance in the '60s. Everything has changed, and you just have to deal with it. I mean, it's completely different as to how I earn a living. Unfortunately, streaming has come along, downloading has come along and changed our entire industry. So, I was kind of hoping at this time of my life to just continue as a writer and, perhaps make a living off of writing. And that's been totally destroyed, for the most part by the internet,
Yeah.
So we have to deal with the good parts of the internet and the bad parts of the internet. And, as I say, music business is a whole different world now,
Do you think that if the Rascals came around today that they could make it as successful as they were?
Well, I think we could make it because we had a great group.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, when I put that group together, I chose 4 people who I thought really stood out in their, in their fields of singing and playing. And we had our record deal in 6 months.
Yeah.
From inception to record deal. So I think so, but I mean, as I say, today, unless we had a really intelligent business representative, it might not work.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, too, when you were talking about just the world in general, the more, I'm very big into history myself, and the more I compare and contrast the 60s and now, it's almost like nothing's the same, everything's the same, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, first of all, there weren't that many people that were interested in a musical career in the early '60s because the financial rewards and also the accolades and the how should I put it, the outlets in terms of media were not there.
Yeah.
So there was a more select group. And second of all, I mean, I really felt then that if you were good, you made it.
Yeah.
And now I must say I really don't believe that anymore. I think if you're good and you got a couple $1 million behind you, you make it. I mean, it's
and all the
a
studio
different world.
tricks too.
Well, exactly. And studio tricks notwithstanding, I mean, like you need a lot of money to promote yourself, or you're not going anywhere. And It's just a different world, and as far as the stage, I mean, look at the difference in the stage. I mean, we used to go out with basically 5 people, perhaps 6 people. Now you go out with an army, a small army.
Well, it becomes more about stage gimmicks than musicianship.
Yeah, and I understand that too, because if you want to hear musicianship, I guess you're going to have to turn to jazz, something like that, because of the visuals that are out there. The people, the audiences, they're kind of used to a big show, big booming show, and it's easy to hear a lot of older guys, knock the new stuff, but it's a different planet. That's all.
Yeah. Well, as a keyboardist, what was it about that instrument itself that set it apart from others? Why the keyboards?
Well, I started off on piano. I started off on classical piano, and I still think that the keyboards really are kind of like the mother of all instruments, because you can kind of have something to do with every section of the orchestra.
Yeah.
You can do from melody to harmony to rhythm, all on one instrument, and I'm not sure you could cover that depth on other instruments. Guitar perhaps, but your other instruments are more solo instruments, and so I started off, you're thinking about an orchestra,
Yeah. Well, when I look at the Rascals, I look at a band that combined the love of strong vocal harmonies with the emerging sound that was rock and roll.
Well, when I first started, basically professionally, I went to Europe right out of college. Met with Joey Dee and the Starliters, and I was working. We were working with the Beatles before the Beatles came to the United States. They were not known here yet, and we were in Germany and in Sweden with them. And I noticed
you were touring with them when they were in Germany.
Yes,
that's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah, what happened basically is Joey Dee was actually the headliner, and these guys I came to this club, and the audience was absolutely insane, and what I could hear, was a vocal group. That's primarily what attracted to them. They were good.